Hello, 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 TM24 here, and we are back with some more Marvel Snap content. Now, what's more satisfying than countering what your opponent plays? I couldn't think of a single thing, so that's what I had in mind when putting together this deck. And I included Kang so that I could see what's going on. I've got Shang-Chi, Killmonger, Cosmo, Rogue, all these cards there to counter what our opponent is doing. Now, this is not the final list that I landed on. Since then, I've upgraded. It's gotten better, and actually, it's a very, very competitive deck right now. But we're gonna get into some gameplay. I'm gonna talk about the list and how you win the games, and then we're gonna talk about some potential inclusions, and you'll get to see the updated list at the end of the video. But for now, let's get into some gameplay. Alright, let's hop right into some gameplay here. This is our counterplay deck where obviously we are trying to counter what our opponent is doing. You can see the list here, and like I said in the intro, this is not the final list. We definitely have made some changes, improved upon it. Unfortunately, we got rid of a few really fun cards, but you'll see that list at the end of this video. So, as you can see here, we can take advantage of tough locations. Gamma Lab, that's great. We'll toss the hood down there, we get the demon, and we get the Hulk, so we feel really nice about that. Zabu is going to give us some discounts. Now, we only have Shang-Chi that Zabu is discounting, but we really like that because if we can get Zabu down and Sera down, we have a kind of a plethora of 3-drops. So we could still go Shang-Chi, Killmonger, and Cosmo on a turn 6 if that's the route we wanted to go. You can see here, we end up going Misty Knight into Sewer System. Ultimately, doesn't work out all that great for us, but as you can see, the counter plays are ready to go. We've got Shang-Chi ready to go. He's going to come down and take out both of those Hulks. So that's going to put us way ahead in Gamma Lab. We're tied in Sewer System because of Baxter Building, but really having these answers to your opponent's cards is really nice. Additionally, they've got Morbius in that center location. We have Rogue in our hand if we want to take that out. You can see we're checking Collector, but we know that Collector is not an ongoing, so Rogue is not going to help us there, but Rogue can definitely take out Morbius. Now, we dropped Kang just to see what they've got going on. This was part of the game plan. I wanted to see if I could make some use out of Kang, and obviously, seeing what our opponent's doing can be super beneficial. But Kang eats up a deck slot, and a lot of the time it doesn't feel all that impactful because on a board like this, they could really make that play anywhere. But he does come in handy in a couple of these games, so you want to see this played out. Obviously here, I think that they're just going to go ahead and make that same exact play. Cosmo comes down, our demon comes out, and sure enough, they go ahead and toss that MODOK right into that same location. We block the on reveal, and we're feeling really good. Kang came in handy there. Now it's time to get Rogue down. And Magic is a little bit tough because if you don't play her by 5, you don't get to play her, so it makes her a dead draw on 6. As you can see here though, Rogue is going to come down and steal that Morbius. Really, all we're doing there is taking away its power. Now they drop 2 swarms, evening it up there. They do take the Sewer System, but because we countered their Hulks with Shang-Chi, we end up getting that dub. Now this game was absolutely insane, nuts. We really had to think about the plays we were making here. So this one was really fun. It really made me think, and it had such a satisfying outcome in the end. But as you can see here, our opponent is playing a Thanos deck. That can make things difficult. There are lots of ongoings. A lot of the times they do have some powerful cards, but typically they don't come down till late. So that means we'd be holding things like the Shang-Chi and the Rogue until late. If we can get Cosmo down, that's great. But most of the time it's not going to hurt them too much. So it's really, we really got to play this carefully, play this the correct way. So we're starting with Zabu into Sinister London to get that double discount onto Shang-Chi, meaning we could play Shang-Chi essentially for 1 on turn 6 because we do have Sera in our hand ready to go. They're playing Kitty Pryde, so now I know that Killmonger should be a really nice option for us. We could save Killmonger till 6, delete all their 1-drops, their Kitty Prydes, and be in really nice shape. We picked up Shang-Chi, so that's a great option for turn 6, especially with Sinister London, meaning we're going to get a copy of Shang-Chi elsewhere as well. So all we're going to do for now is just play Nova. Now the reason we're playing just Nova is because we don't want to play it on Sinister London. 1, we don't want to take up too much board space, but 2, we want to save Cosmo and Rogue for once we see what our opponent is getting down, exactly what type of deck they are playing. So we play Nova and we just wait for our opponent to make their move. They end up throwing the Mind Stone over into Mirror Dimension, and I'm like, that's a weird choice. Time Stone comes out, and of course it hits that same location, but Carnage is going to come through and eat all those up and be powered up all the way to 8 power. So really kind of lucky for them, but turned out perfectly. Now, we get a second Sinister London location, so things could go absolutely nuts here. Now, we do have Killmonger ready to go, and because they've already eaten up those 1-drops, we figure it's time to just get Killmonger down. We'll take our buff onto, our Zabus and Killmonger and just play from there. We've got Sera ready to go. We've got Shang-Chi, Rogue, and Cosmo, so we feel like we are in a pretty good spot here. They end up snapping, so we're like, okay, they're serious. They think they've got this. Let's see what happens. So we've got Killmonger ready. We get it down, and exactly what we thought. We get the power-ups, the boosted power onto Zabu, and we get the 4-power Killmonger as well. All they play is a Blue Marvel, which is really a nice play, but because all the 1-drops are already gone, honestly, I didn't think it was going to have all that much impact. Turn 5 here, we've got the option to magic, but we're going to just move ahead with our Sera plan. Get Sera down. We have Shang-Chi ready to go, Rogue ready to go. Now I'm thinking maybe we can steal that Blue Marvel and buff up our cards with Rogue. So that's the game plan, but first we got to get Sera down, get even more discounts, and we'll basically have a handful of 1-drops for turn 6. So that's what we're planning here, and we're just waiting on our opponent. Now this deck is really fun because it does make you think. You've got to consider, do you want to take this, do you want to take that, and how you are going to go about doing it. As you can see here, they have it's a really cool deck. A lot of those cards are inked and they look really, really nice, but they have some really nice clean plays here as well. Their Bishop is getting powered up. They've got Kitty Prides that are nice and healthy. Soul Stones are really frustrating to deal with. The one saving grace we have here is that Sera hits the perfect spot for us. Now, turn 6 comes along and we draw Kang. So we're going to play Kang and see what is going on. So that's easy for us. We snap play Kang, and then we're just waiting on our opponent. Now, I remember this game. Our opponent was taking a long time to make their plays. I'm not sure why, because it looks like they had a huge lead, but maybe they were just trying to think through what we could possibly do, especially given the discounts that we have out there. We really haven't shown too much of our hand. We've shown a Nova, Zabu, Killmonger, and Sera, so really they don't know what we could be playing here. They have no idea that our plan is really just to use their cards against them and, essentially counter what they are playing. So I kind of understand why it took them so long to play, but it was kind of an insanely long time, so I might have to speed up this section right here. All right, and our opponent is finally making their move here. They're getting Kitty Pride down. Now, I know it's turn 6, so they had to make sure they were making the right move. Reality Stone comes out, and that's a little bit tough because it's taking away our possibility of getting as much power down as possible, but Kang lets us see what they're doing. Now we can formulate our plan and kind of play a game of essentially rock, paper, scissors. We know Reality Stone is probably going to come out. We're looking at those bishops, and those are going to make a really nice target for Shang-Chi. We've also got Rogue, and we want to make sure that we can take a Blue Marvel to buff up our cards. So now really it's just about figuring out how we want to play this turn. We are going to get another draw because Kang was drawn on turn 6. So we get one more card to help us make our play here, and we end up drawing the Hood, which is probably the worst draw we could have gotten because it doesn't help us at all. Now you see I snap play Rogue over onto that far right location. They've only got Blue Marvel, so we're guaranteed taking that. Now I'm definitely a little bit worried that they're going to Reality Stone the middle location again, making it tough for us to get this additional power down. But I also think there's a chance that they could go into the far right location. Now it's just a matter of waiting for our opponent to make their play. And again, like I said, we're waiting. So here we go again. All right, and our opponent makes their move. Kitty Pryde comes down, just like last turn. Play it right under that Sinister London, but here's where they changed it up. They Reality Stoned that far right location, which means our Rogue is only going to take just that Blue Marvel. Ultimately, not too bad, and really it works out kind of perfectly for us. Rogue comes through, we steal that Blue Marvel, all theirs start to go down in power. Now our Shang-Chi comes out, and it's able to hit Bishop once, and then goes over to that far right lane and takes out, I forget which one it just took out there. But as you can see, we end up getting the clutch dub there by countering what our opponent had going on. All right, we're into our third and final game. We won't need to speed this one up at all. Our opponent played much quicker, so thank you to our opponent there, 19 whales. But let's get right into it. Turn one, we're able to get the hood down, and we play that freely knowing that we have Killmonger ready to go. They like our hood. I like our hood. It looks really, really clean. Now we've got Zabu in hand again, so we're going to get Zabu down. Really clean 2-drop, and then turn 3 is where we kind of have options here. We haven't seen what they're doing yet. We do pick up magic, which is nice. So if you've got the chance, you can extend the game. Now, what's nice about having magic is that we've also got Scarlet Witch, which means we can fake these turn 6, or fake these, 7-turn games. By playing magic here and knowing that we have the potential to draw Scarlet Witch, we could end this game early. Another nice thing about having Scarlet Witch in our deck is that a lot of people are playing magic right now, so Scarlet Witch becomes a great option to end those games early. And you can see we picked her up immediately. Now with that thought in mind, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start putting our power into Baxter Building. Now we want to do that because whoever's winning that location gets +3 at the others. So we need to start stacking our power there so that we can, make sure we have that lead going into turn 5, turn 6, so that we can end that game early. Now we do pick up Cosmo here. Ultimately, not a huge deal. We do need to get some power down though. So it's just a matter of figuring out what we want to do here. We have Kang if we want to go ahead and play him to see what our opponent's got. But ultimately, right now, our hand is a little bit awkward. Rogue isn't really going to hit anything. We could get the demon down onto Baxter Building. We could play Doctor Strange and pull Killmonger into Limbo or something like that. But we know that we want to save Scarlet Witch. Ultimately, we decide to go with Kang just to see what our opponent has going on. Now, with them playing Shuri on turn 5, that tells me that on turn 6, they're going to have to play into that same location, which means we are free to end this game early and get an easy victory if we play this correctly. And that's going to be our plan here. So turn 5 still, I'm still expecting the Shuri from them. We don't have any way to stop it, so they should feel free to play it. But we can plan to end this game over the next 2 turns. We have Scarlet Witch. You can see I'm pointing Scarlet Witch onto Limbo, could end that early. I'm also pointing to Doctor Strange. We could pull our Killmonger, and we can get our demon down now. So that's what we're thinking. We do need to leave a slot open for Scarlet Witch. I'm also considering Rogue just to get some power down because we can make the turn 6 play of Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch and not really have to worry about it too much. We've got Cosmo, we've got Demon, and we have Scarlet Witch, and you can see we snap play all those, making this a very, very simple game for us. They Shuri into that middle location, so of course they get to power up that Doc Ock, but ultimately it's a terrible decision. Our Doctor Strange comes out, it's going to pull our Demon into that middle location, and Shang-Chi makes an appearance, destroying Dr. Octopus, and we get a huge victory taking all 3 locations right there. Alright, so you've seen some gameplay. Here is the updated list. Now, we definitely took out a few cards, but we included a couple others, and I feel like the theme still fits. We've got Spider-Ham, Scarlet Witch, Green Goblin, Rogue, Cosmo, Shang-Chi, Valkyrie, all there to make life very, very difficult on our opponent. Now, Sera, Angela, Ant-Man, Wasp are all there to make our life a little bit easier. So, let's talk about how you win with this deck. I'm going to throw up a graphic here, and it's going to break it down. Obviously, we're trying to counter what our opponent is doing, so we're countering. That's one of your big win conditions. If they drop something with huge power, you've got Shang-Chi. If it looks like they're setting up for a Wong, you've got Cosmo. If they've got a Darkhawk or a Devil Dino, there's Rogue. You want to eat up their board space, there's Green Goblin. Take away their big threat, Spider-Ham. You have options to counter, and that's what this deck is good at. Now, there are a couple of plays that really make it a whole lot easier. I love getting Angela down, and then on turn 4, I love going Titania right into Green Goblin. And the reason you do that is because it's going to take up 2 of their board spaces with a -3 and a 5. Now, you're going to get that 5 back typically on turn 6, but by doing that, you can totally lock them out as long as they've got 2 cards in that lane already. And let's say they've got 3, you're still in okay shape, because Green Goblin will still slide over, but Titania will stay on your side. So a really cool interaction there that can be super, super beneficial. Now, the other line of play that I really love is making sure that you've got a lane that has at least 1 card in it. And then on turn 6, you can go Valkyrie, Ant-Man, and Wasp, filling up that lane and obviously bringing all of your opponent's power down. Now, because Ant-Man has an ongoing ability, it is going to be more power than theirs. So you should win that lane as long as they don't have any funny shenanigans going on. Now, if you're able to play Sera, you can go Valkyrie and a couple cards into that. You could go Valkyrie, Angela, Ant-Man, and Wasp and really take control of that lane. So I really love the Valkyrie line. The Green Goblin Titania line really eats up their board space, and then you've got all these other cards that can really hurt your opponent. Scarlet Witch is great on turn 6, getting rid of the extended games, because that's all we're seeing with Magic. You've got Cosmo, you've got Rogue. I just really love that you have options to screw up your opponent with this deck, and that's what makes it so fun. Now, there were a couple cards, some that I took out and some that I feel could be included, and I've got them right here next to me. I think Enchantress could find some play here. Obviously, there are a lot of ongoing cards. Being able to take out something like a Morbius, a Darkhawk, Devil Dino, you're going to feel pretty good about that. Additionally, we've got Jeff. Now, I really like Jeff on top of Angela to give that space, or to give that power, and then move him to a location that may be a little bit tougher to access. I think Jeff is probably one of the strongest 2-drops in the game, so I feel like I can always find a slot for him. Next up, we've got Jean Grey. As you can see, our whole deck really is very, very cheap. And if we get Sera down, it can make it really easy for us to fill up that lane, especially on 6. But if you play her on 3, obviously we can fit cards into that lane and still get enough power on other locations as well. So I feel like Jean Grey could be really nice, probably on turn 4 or 5, to disrupt what your opponent has going on. And then finally, I took Killmonger out, but I could still see some room for him. Obviously, those high evolutionaries are running Sunspots and Nebulas and Misty Knights. Something like a bounce deck that has Kitty Pryde. Killmonger can really come in handy. Obviously, we've only got 2 1-drops, so we really don't have all that much at risk, and you would really just have to order your cards correctly and not play Ant-Man and Titania early if you plan on playing Killmonger. So just a little bit of pre-planning needed, but definitely a card that could help you counter what some of your opponent is doing. But I'd love to know what you guys think about this list. I've had a ton of fun playing it, and as you can see, I'm working towards making it better, and I've had a ton of success with this version right here. So if you guys got the cards, give it a shot and let me know how it goes. If you've hung around till now would be a great time to go ahead and hit the subscribe and like button, as it really does help me out. And until the next one, have some fun.